Rhineland, Germany. April 14, 1945. 60 seconds to mob justice. The village square smells of ash and wet stone. Smoke curls from roofless buildings like prayers abandoned midway to heaven. Lieutenant James Avery steps through rubble that was once a bakery, a schoolhouse someone's Sunday morning. His Lee Enfield rifle hangs across his chest. Boots crunch over glass that catches the gray afternoon light. Then he sees her, a woman tied to a wooden post in the center of the square. Nurse's uniform torn at the shoulder, bloodied, mud-streaked. Above her head, a hand-painted sign in brutal block letters, Veteran, Traitor. If you're watching this story unfold from anywhere in the world, whether it's morning in New York or midnight in Mumbai, hit that subscribe button now. Every week we uncover the moral crucibles that defined not just the war, but what it means to choose humanity when the world demands you choose sides. Like this video if stories like these matter to you. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. The crowd around her seethes with quiet rage. 20 villagers, maybe 30. Old men in threadbare coats. Women with hollow cheeks and eyes like burnt paper. A child kicks gravel near the post. Someone spits. The sound lands wet on stone. Avery feels the weight of the moment before he understands it. The rifle in his hands. The uniform that marks him as liberator and occupier both. The woman's head bowed, but breathing. And in that moment, watching the crowd tighten like a fist, he realizes something that will haunt him. He is the only thing standing between mercy and murder. Avery was not supposed to be here. His section had been tasked with securing the eastern checkpoint, clear the roads, mark the mines, let the village sort itself out. But a woman's cry had pulled him off course. Sharp, sudden, cut short. He motions to corporal doors behind him. Hold position, safety on, no shots. Then he steps into the square alone. April 1945 was the month Europe came apart. The Third Reich was collapsing not in one dramatic fall, but in 1,000 small fractures. Villages were liberated one day and left to fend for themselves the next. Between February and May 1945, Allied forces documented over 10,000 cases of extrajudicial killings across occupied Germany. Collaborators, deserters, women accused of fraternizing with enemy soldiers. Most received no trial. The crowd turns as Avery approaches. An old man in a stained Homburg steps forward, gesturing at the woman. "She helped your men," the old man says in German, voice shaking. "She gave them water while our boys bled. She is a traitor." Avery's heartbeat is a drum in his throat. This is a village trying to cauterize its shame by burning the wound. He looks at the woman. Her wrists are raw where the rope bites, her face bruised, violet and gray. But her eyes, when they lift to meet his, are not pleading. They are exhausted, resigned. Avery does not raise his rifle. He plants it instead, butt to cobblestone like a stake claiming ground. Halt. One word. German. Clipped clean as a parade command. The crowd hesitates, not from fear, but from interrupted momentum. They were a river. Now they are water pooling, uncertain which way to flow. The old man recovers first. "This does not concern you, Herr Offizier. This is German justice. Our village. Our traitor." "Your village," Avery replies, his German stiff but deliberate, "is now British jurisdiction. And I see no justice here, only a rope and a crowd." A younger man pushes forward, mid-30s, face gaunt, one sleeve pinned empty at the shoulder. "A veteran. She gave water to your men," he spits. "While my brother died 3 streets away, choking on his own blood, she was washing British wounds. She chose them over us." Avery lets the silence sit. Counts 3 breaths. "What is her name?" The question lands like a wrench in gears. "Her name," Avery repeats. "If you are executing her for treason, you must know her name, her rank, her unit. Show me the court-martial documentation. Show me anything that says this is law and not a lynching." The old man sputters. "We do not need papers to know betrayal." "Then you do not have justice," Avery says, his voice hardening. "You have revenge, and revenge is not yours to take. Not anymore." A woman's voice rises from the back, raw, ragged with grief. "She let them live. The soldiers who bombed our children, she saved them. Did she pull the triggers? Avery asks, softer now. Did she load the bombers? Did she give the orders? She gave them mercy, the woman chokes out, while we had none. Then she was a nurse, Avery says simply, doing what nurses do. Verräterin, someone shouts. Traitor, the word like a stone thrown. Avery sees him then, the ringleader. Late 20s, expensive coat despite the ruin, clean-shaven, eyes cold and calculating. This one didn't lose family. This one lost standing. Herr Offizier, the ringleader says smoothly. We understand your position. But this woman defied orders. She aided enemy combatants. The sentence has been decided. Decided by whom? By the people she betrayed. Then the people have no authority. Avery's words drop like a gavel. I do, the ringleader smiles, thin, cold. You are one man, Herr Leutnant. You cannot police every corner. We will reclaim what is ours. Avery takes one step forward, then another. Close enough now that the ringleader can see the days without sleep in his eyes. You are correct, Avery says quietly. I am one man, but I am the man with the rifle and the authority of His Majesty's armed forces. And if you touch her again, you will learn exactly how much one man can do when he decides the law matters more than the mob. The ringleader's smile falters. Avery pivots, addressing the crowd. This woman is under British protective custody. Any attempt to harm her will be considered an act of aggression against Allied forces. If you have charges, submit them in writing to military government. Until then, she is not yours. He turns to the post. The woman's eyes track him, exhausted. Waiting. Fräulein, he says quietly. I am Lieutenant Avery, British Army. I'm going to cut the rope now. She nods. Barely. Avery draws his knife. The rope is cheap hemp, frayed at the edges. It parts under pressure, falls away like a spell breaking. The woman collapses forward. Avery catches her, steadying her weight against his chest. She weighs almost nothing. Es ist vorbei, he murmurs. It's over. Behind him the crowd disperses. Slowly, reluctantly, like smoke losing its shape. The ringleader melts into the rubble. The old man spits and turns away. Corporal Dors appears at Avery's elbow. Sir, ambulance is 2 minutes out. Avery lifts the woman fully, cradles her like something breakable. Which she is. Which they all are. As he carries her across the square, he feels it. The cost of choosing. Something inside him has shifted. The war was never impersonal, but it had been distant. Now it is this. A woman's pulse against his forearm. A village's hatred in his wake. A choice made not because it was ordered, but because it was necessary. The field hospital tent smells of canvas, iodine, and stale air. Avery sits beside the cot, watching the woman sleep. She has been unconscious for 4 hours. The medic cataloged her injuries. 2 cracked ribs, severe dehydration, contusions, rope burns. As dusk bleeds through the canvas, she stirs. Her eyes open slowly. She sees the IV line first, then the British field dressing, then Avery. Wasser, she whispers. Avery holds the canteen to her lips. She drinks like someone who has forgotten mercy. Thank you, she says. Then in English, you are the officer from the square. Lieutenant Avery, you're safe here. She almost laughs. Safe, yes. I have heard this word before. What's your name? A pause. Lisa Hartmann. I was a nurse. Kriegslazaret, Rhineland front. She pauses. I think I am not a nurse anymore, only a traitor. Tell me what happened. She tells it slowly, in fragments. The hospital was a repurposed schoolhouse. 20 beds that became 60, then bodies on the floor. 3 doctors, 8 nurses, dwindling supplies that turned medicine into mathematics. The order came in March. Evacuate, fall back, leave the ones who cannot walk. We were supposed to abandon them, Lisa says. 32 men, some German, some not. British prisoners, Americans, a Russian, All bleeding the same. She stayed. 3 nurses stayed. The doctors fled. We boiled bandages in rainwater, she says. Used schnapps when the ether ran out. I held a boy's hand while he died. German boy, maybe 17. He called me Mutti, mother. I was 23. She describes amputations by candlelight. A British sergeant who sang hymns. A Luftwaffe pilot who sketched birds on the walls. Then your men came. A patrol. Lost. One was wounded. Shrapnel in his shoulder. Red hair, freckles. His name was Thomas. Tommy. He made jokes while I dug metal from his flesh. The British patrol stayed 2 days. When they left, they offered to take her. She refused. Someone had to stay, but someone saw. A Feldgendarmerie officer or someone claiming to be one. He called it treason, Lisa says. Aiding the enemy, betraying the Reich. They came at night, dragged her from the hospital. The wounded tried to stop it. A boy with one leg stood between her and the soldiers. They beat him unconscious. She was tied to the post at dawn, the sign painted while she watched. They told me I would hang at sunset, as an example, so others would know the price of kindness. Her voice fractures. She turns away. Avery sits in the silence. He thinks about the war they teach at Sandhurst, the clean one with clear enemies. Then the war he has lived, where a German nurse saving a British soldier becomes a capital crime. What happens to me now? Lisa asks. You stay here, under protection. I'll make sure the record states you acted as a medical professional under impossible conditions. No charges, no trial. And when you leave? Then you will have papers that say the British Army vouches for your character. It may not be enough, but it is what I can give. She nods. Thank you, Lieutenant Avery, for standing in the square when you did not have to. I did have to, he replies. I just didn't know it until I saw the rope. British 2nd Army Headquarters, April 17th, 1945. Major Clifton sits behind a field desk. He reads Avery's incident report for the 3rd time, lips pressed thin. Lieutenant, walk me through your decision tree. Avery stands at attention. Sir, I encountered a civilian detained without proper authority. I assessed the situation as extrajudicial punishment and intervened per Article 27 of the Geneva Convention. I know the bloody convention, Avery. Clifton drops the report. What I don't know is why you thought it was your job to play magistrate. With respect, sir, I was preventing a murder. You were exceeding your authority. Your orders were checkpoint security, not playing savior to every sob story. She wasn't a sob story, sir. She was a prisoner about to be executed by a mob. A German prisoner. In a German village, dealing with German justice. Not your problem. Silence fills the space. Clifton sighs. Listen, James, I understand the impulse, but we're not here to referee every score they want to settle. The minute you start caring about every rope and post, you stop being a soldier and start being, what? A liability, sir. Permission to speak freely, sir. Clifton waves a hand. You're already waist deep. If we ignore civilians being murdered in our jurisdiction, we're not establishing order. We're sanctioning chaos. We become complicit in the barbarism we're supposed to be ending. Careful, Lieutenant, that sounds like philosophy. We don't pay you to philosophize. My orders include upholding the laws of war, even when it's inconvenient. Clifton studies him, then lights a cigarette. You know what your problem is, Avery? You still think war has rules. Later that evening, Clifton finds Avery outside the mess tent. You're not in trouble, the major says. Officially, the report will note your actions as within acceptable discretion. No commendation, but no reprimand either. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me. I'm still not sure you were right, but I'm not sure you were wrong either. They stand in silence. Can I ask you something, sir? Did you ever wonder if we're the traitors? Clifton turns. Explain. We swore oaths to fight barbarism, to uphold certain principles. But how often do we ignore those principles because enforcing them is inconvenient? Clifton is quiet. Every day, he says finally. Every single day. Then who are we loyal to, sir? Really? I think we're loyal to the idea that someday when this is over, we might still recognize ourselves in the mirror. That's the best I can offer you. The rest is just surviving until we get there. He turns to leave, then pauses. The nurse, what happens to her? She stays under British protection, transferred to a DP camp with proper documentation. After that, she's a German woman in a Germany that may not forgive her for being kind. So you saved her for what, 6 months? A year? I saved her for 1 day, Avery says. The day she was about to die. That's all any of us can do. Clifton nods slowly. Maybe that's enough. Maybe. Or maybe it's just what we tell ourselves so we can sleep. April 23, 1945. British DP Processing Center. The paperwork takes longer than the rescue. Lisa sits across from a clerk who types through her testimony. Name, age, occupation. The clerk stamps 3 forms, files them in a folder destined for an archive that may never be opened. Next, the clerk calls. Lisa stands, holding a paper that says she is a displaced person under Allied protection. It does not say she is innocent. It says only that she exists. And for now, that is enough. Avery watches from the doorway. She sees him, nods once. Where will you go? He asks. West, she says. Away from the ruins. Perhaps to family I hope still breathe. Perhaps to no one. I am alive, which means I must continue being alive. If you need anything, you have given what you could, Lieutenant. The rest is mine to carry. She walks away, folding into the river of refugees flowing west. Avery watches until she disappears. He wonders if he will remember her face in 10 years, or if she will become just another moment in a war built of moments. Avery returns to the square before his unit moves out. Dawnlight cuts through the ruins. The post still stands, though someone tried to burn it. The wood is charred at the base, but it did not fall. The sign lies face down in the mud. Rain has softened the letters. Veteran, the paint bleeding into the grain. Avery kneels, stares at the word that meant death. Now just wood and weather. He thinks about burning it, smashing it, carrying it back as evidence. Instead, he leaves it there, half buried, fading. Some things should be remembered. Some things should be forgotten. Most things exist in the terrible space between. In the final months of World War II, Europe dissolved into chaos that history textbooks struggle to capture. Between April and August 1945, Allied forces documented over 10,000 cases of reprisal killings across occupied Germany. Civilians accused of collaboration, deserters executed by retreating armies, women punished for loving the wrong uniform. Most deaths left no paperwork, no witness, no grave. Nurses like Lisa Hartmann, German, French, Dutch, Italian, who treated wounded regardless of flag, found themselves branded traitors by communities desperate to assign blame. The International Red Cross recorded 847 such cases in Germany alone. Lieutenant James Avery was one of thousands of Allied officers tasked with policing the collapse. They made impossible decisions about when to intervene in the rage of villages that had earned their rage honestly. Some looked away. Some drew lines. All carried the weight of choices made in moments too fast for certainty, too important for doubt. Lisa Hartmann survived the war, worked in a British hospital for displaced persons, immigrated to Canada in 1947, married a teacher, raised 2 children who never understood why their mother flinched at raised voices, why she kept bandages in every room. She died in 1983. Her obituary mentioned nothing of the post, the rope, or the sign. It mentioned only that she was kind. James Avery remained in the Army until 1948, rose to captain, declined to stay for career, opened a bookshop in Kent where he sold second-hand histories and drank tea with customers who wanted to talk about anything except the war. He never spoke of the square except once, to a nephew studying philosophy who asked what he learned in the war. That loyalty, Avery said, is not to flags or orders or even countries. Loyalty, in the end, is to the human being standing in front of you. Everything else is just noise we make to justify looking away. The nephew didn't understand. Not then. But he would. The sign said Traitor, But the greater betrayal would have been to walk away. In a world fracturing into sides, into us and them, into who deserves mercy and who deserves rope, the most radical act is the simplest: to see a person and refuse to unsee them. To stand in the space between cruelty and crowd and say, "Not this, not today, not while I'm breathing." Avery and Liisa were not heroes. They were people who, for one moment, chose differently, chose life when death was easier, chose mercy when vengeance was expected, chose humanity when the world demanded they choose sides. The war taught a million lessons: tactics and strategy, logistics and loss. But the only lesson that matters is this: when the rope is ready and the crowd is certain and the sign proclaims guilt without trial, someone must cut the rope. Someone must question the sign. Someone must remember that the person tied to the post is still a person. That is not heroism. That is not philosophy. That is loyalty to the only thing worth being loyal to, the idea that being human means more than surviving. It means choosing, in the moments that matter, to see each other clearly, and then to act as if that seeing demands something of us, because it does. If this story made you think differently about loyalty, mercy, or the choices we make when the world asks us to look away, share it. Leave a comment about what this means to you. These stories matter not because they're history, but because they're human. And humanity in the end is the only side worth taking.